with introducing yourself and your tie to the Symphony of the Lakes?
I'm Tom Stirling, and I am the music conductor and music director of Symphony of the Lakes.
I'm Ben Meulink, and I performed Concerto by Paul Creston.
The theme for the Symphony of the Lakes April 18th is the master and his pupil. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think that what we really wanted to try to do is we had an event back in February that Ben competed in, which was our Young Artist Competition. And part of that is basically our dedication to education, where we had 9 high school players came in and competed against each other to get a chance to perform their work with the symphony. So that's basically the biggest tie, in the sense of, like, we sort of want to highlight the fact that music education is really important, and tying in the theme between master and his pupil with the music that's in the actual concert is the tie between Beethoven and Haydn, which are the 2 other featured composers on the program, because Beethoven was a student of Haydn as well. So we're trying to bring everything together as far as the importance of how music teachers affected their students, and then with the event that we had with the Young Artist Competition.
Okay. You said the competition was 9 students. Would they all play the same piece? Or talk me a little bit about that competition.
Yeah, the competition itself was 9 different students who came from different high schools. They all played something different. It was kind of left up to them in the sense of what they wanted to play. They just had to make sure that it was a piece that had orchestral accompaniment, because the winner then would play with the symphony on this April concert.
Ben, what piece did you choose, and why did you choose it?
I played the
Concert.
I think it's just the Concertino for Marimba and Orchestra by Paul Creston. He's written music for a lot of different instruments, but this is the one he wrote for marimba, and there's not a lot of marimba music out there, especially with an orchestra. But this is a solid piece, and I played the first movement from it.
And tell me obviously he won, but tell me about his performance.
Yeah, it was one of the things that I found that was really great about the competition itself is we had such a wide variety of participation. Like Ben Meulink, you don't really always associate marimba with a solo instrument with orchestra, but there's a lot of the variety of that. So that was partially part of what was unique about it. Paul Creston, who wrote this piece, he's a 20th century composer, so it's very different in the sense of not your typical classical music sound. It's very modern in the sense of how it's written. Very, very difficult. Not your typical melodic passages in the sense of, like, you know, what you might hear like in a movie theme or any of the classical literature. It's it's a very difficult piece, and Ben basically played the whole thing flawlessly. So I have to commend him for his work that he did on it, to be prepared enough. He did it from memory, which was also something that stood out in the sense of his performance. So it was just everyone is in for, whoever comes to this concert, are in a real treat to hear Ben play this, because it's extremely difficult. A lot of professional percussionists perform this piece. So to have someone like Ben with his ability to play that with us, it's going to be really exciting. So,
during the competition, Ben, were you nervous or excited, or how were you feeling?
I was definitely nervous, but I had played the piece before for ISMA, which is you can bring solos and ensembles from that. And I had played it for district and state there, and I had gotten a gold both times. So I was fairly confident that I would be able to do it, but obviously everybody gets jitters before the performance. So I just had to control those and play the piece as best as I could.
So for the Symphony of the Lakes performance, is that the piece you guys are playing, or what is he going to join in on? Or?
Yeah, we're actually going to perform the piece that he competed with. So we'll be doing, it'll be just the first movement. All of them were just only asked to do one movement based upon time duration. But he'll be performing it on the first half of the second part of the concert. After intermission, he'll be playing it with us.
Okay, and that's the only part of what he'll be joining you guys?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So are you now more excited or nervous about that, or how are you feeling about that upcoming concert, or are you rehearsing it more?
I've been rehearsing it by myself. I think the most interesting and new thing I'll have to work around is playing with an actual orchestra instead of a pianist. That's also a lot of people to be working with, and obviously we'll have to pay attention to each other especially. But that's going to be the most interesting thing, and it'll be a more fresh experience for me, and in turn hopefully that can turn into a better experience for the audience.
Is there anything else about that concert you want people to know, or it's the last one of the season, correct?
It is the last one that we will have for before we take a hiatus until we're in the process of making preparations for our next year. You know, I think one of the things that I just want people to understand about this concert is, you know, we have the link to education, and we have the link between Beethoven and Haydn, where that's concerned. People are going to recognize the pieces. Everyone knows Beethoven's Fifth, that famous four-note motif, da 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 da. Everyone knows that. You know, it's known worldwide. And what's really interesting about the pieces is that there's a little bit of a story behind it. And when people come, they'll be able to hear a little bit about the history of how they connect, and some of the things that the composers did to connect the pieces was in conjunction with tying it in with different other pieces that were written. For example, the Egmont Overture, which we open up with, is correlated to another piece of actual dramatic work that was done called Egmont. The Farewell Symphony was written with the last movement. One of the funny stories about the Farewell Symphony was that Haydn wrote this piece while he was with his patron during the summer. The musicians had to stay behind. It was kind of like musicians in those days were sort of under the watch of the aristocrats and a lot of the kings and queens and those sort of things. And one of the things that musicians had to do was stay behind, had to leave their families and stay and work until the work was finished. And one of the things that Haydn decided to do was that he felt as though the families, these men that stayed behind, were losing time with their families. So in the final movement, what he decided to do with this, as kind of a homage to that, was that as the movement went along, he would have individuals leave the stage as if they were leaving to go home. So people will see that, will tie that sort of event into that to make it, so there's a little bit of staging that goes along with that actual piece too.
Okay, great. And then the information's on the flyer, but for the sake of the video, do you want to talk about the dates, the times, the tickets?
Yeah, what's sort of new for us, or we're kind of going home, as they say, to Rodeheaver Auditorium for this concert, which is on the Grace College campus. The date is Saturday, April 18th, and the concert begins at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. You can get them through the box office at the Wagon Wheel Center of the Arts, or through the website. Ticket prices are $15 for adults, $10 for students, which is 13 on up, and 12 and under are only $1. So, and something else to go along with that is we have a new sponsor for our concert, which is the Kosciuszko County Community Foundation. So with their generous support, we can put on this concert. Along with that, we're making some preparations with a couple of local dining establishments that are going to be offering. We'll have more information soon on this. Hopefully, will come out in the paper or online. That we're partnering up with some restaurants to offer some discounts to dinner or lunch that day, so people can kind of make an evening of it. Go to dinner, come to the concert, enjoy some nice music in the evening. So that information will be coming out soon as well.
Okay, great. And maybe the last question for Ben, is all your friends and family coming out, or have you been inviting people?
Yeah, I've been inviting people. Also, a lot of people at my church have just been congratulating me and saying they'll be coming. And it's, especially in Warsaw, it seems like such a small town. a lot of people know about it.
Great.
And I think one of the other things that I just want people to realize, again, this is what we're trying to do, is build something here at the Wagner Assembly of the Arts that really focuses on education. And this is just one of the many things that we have planned. We hope that people will come that evening, not only to support Ben, but to also support the symphony and the future things that we want to do. We'll be offering the opportunity for people to give donations at the concert too. So if people want to put a little extra cash in their pocket or bring a checkbook with them, all of that money goes back into programs like this that we can do to help raise awareness to how important music education is. Ben, for example, his plans in the sense of what he's going to do, it goes far beyond music. And what is it that you're going to major in? Physics. So I don't think there's any doubt that his music education, his experience, has any less effect on his academic success as just the music itself too. So we just want people to come out, have a wonderful time. The concert will run about 80 minutes plus a 15-minute intermission, so it won't be too late of a night, even for families, for a Saturday anyway. So we hope to see a lot of people there.
Great, cool. And one last question:
Yeah.
the young competitions, is this going to be an annual thing, or?
Yeah, at this point, we're going to try to make this an annual event. So one of our concerts will have a similar type of situation. Ben just happens to be our first one out of the gate, so plan on seeing those on a yearly basis.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yes.